All right, everybody, welcome to Friday Night Science. My name is Dustin Nuri. This is Professor D.K. Philbin. This is my brother Shane. He's a graduate student at UCSB. Myself and D.K., we teach chemistry here at Hancock College. And chemistry is the study of matter and the changes that matter go through. And so, what is this matter? Well, matter is anything that takes up space and has weight. So we're pretty much talking about a lot of different stuff. So for our students, we try to classify our matter, and with our classification of matter, we've got solids, liquids, and gases. And so for our demonstrations today, we're going to try to create some of these physical states for you.
Now, in this beaker is something your parents never want you to eat much of: sugar. This is just table sugar, to which Dustin has added some concentrated sulfuric acid. And one of the things we look for are changes. Can you see any changes happening? Color change. Excellent. There's extra credit. Something you don't notice because we don't want you close enough is heat. There's a lot of heat given off in this reaction. In chemistry, we call it exothermic, heat out. So let's see. See some more color change?
Yeah.
And now what color is it?
Black.
Yeah, it's very different from the white sugar. It's now becoming black. I'm not sure you want Dustin to cook you dinner, however. He's already burned the sugar.
All right, so let's see if we can make a solid with our first chemical reaction.
I want you to watch it carefully and see if you can tell me why you think a chemical reaction is happening or when it begins. What kind of things do you see? Here it comes. Here it comes. I told you he wasn't a very good cook.
Anybody hungry? All right, so we're making a solid here. Notice how it has fixed shape, fixed volume here. And so this is one way that we like to classify our matter, forming solids.
There we go. All right, now our next demonstration is the most dangerous one we do. So children, turn around and wave goodbye to your parents. You may never see them again. This is actually the most dangerous experiment we do. It's the most interesting one. It's called the thermite reaction. We use some common chemicals. We use powdered aluminum, and we also use rust, iron oxide, Fe2O3. And the reaction needs a little bit of a kick to get started, so Dr. Nori's looking for a piece of magnesium that he will ignite. It's a fuse. It's a very, very hot fuse. And what you will see is when the reaction occurs, we're going to create molten iron at 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to run. So I'm going to get out of the way. Whoa, so there you can see it. And in just a moment, there comes the molten iron at 2,800 degrees. You'll notice that we have the two ceramic pots there, and they are nested. And it's so hot it cracks the ceramic pots. So you can see this is a rather exothermic reaction, meaning heat out. You can see the iron, molten iron in the bottom of the bucket there, still radiating lots of heat. In the past, this was used to weld railroad rails together. You'd pack this around a railroad rail, set it off, and it would melt the rails together, and you get some poor, starving graduate student like Shane out there with files, and they would file it smooth, and there you'd have welded rails. That's why we have graduate students. They're expendable. There's something about these Nori brothers. They really like flame and smoke and fire. I kind of worry about them. You might recognize this as something you might see on the 4th of July. So fireworks are, of course, chemistry, right? It's just an application of chemistry. So what they do, they learn from us. So here we go. This is gunpowder. This is gunpowder, and there's some metal in there, titanium, that we will light up, which will give you what you see as your sparks.
All right, this next demonstration, we're actually going to turn a solid directly into a gas. So another chemical reaction here. And this chemical reaction was discovered back in 1845 by a gentleman by the name of Frederick Chambien. And at that time, or during this time in Switzerland, they were able to, or at least maybe more disposed to, working at home. And at this time, he was working at home in his kitchen, or in him and his wife's kitchen, and he was doing some chemistry, which his wife had asked him not to do. And this evening, she was gone, and he was working in the kitchen, and he spilled some of the acid actually that we were just seeing with our very first chemical reaction, and he used her cotton apron to clean up the mess. Well, at least he was nice enough to set it on the oven to dry. Well, he took off and later on heard a loud boom. He ended up calling this material Scheissbaumwolle, which means gun cotton.
Now, before you light it, there's a little more history to this. Anybody ever see a magic show? Yeah, this is the basis of flash paper that you will see where magicians have all of a sudden paper and it disappears in a flame. This is it. It's called flash paper. In the 1800s, they would make collars out of their shirts. Remember the big white starch collars? And they used a similar reaction, nitrocellulose. And their problem with that was that their production quality wasn't real consistent. And sometimes they'd over-nitrate the cellulose. And that was only a problem if you smoked cigars. Because this is what would happen if you spilled cigar ashes on your collar. Go ahead, Dustin.
All right. All right.
Oop.
All right. Mic check. Mic check.
Check. There you go. All right. So keep in mind now, this was just regular cotton, and we did that chemical reaction to it to create the gun cotton. It's a solid. It all has its nice shape and everything. And let's see how reactive it is to going to that gaseous state. So here we have a solid going to a gas. Her poor apron, just gone in a flash.
Okay, now what we have here is a bucket with some water in it, all right? And Shane, being a graduate student, is expendable, so we have him on the bottom here. And we're pouring liquid nitrogen, which is extremely cold, very, very cold, into a 2-liter bottle. And you'll notice there's a brick on the bottle. That's lead. That's how we guarantee that this bottle of liquid nitrogen goes to the bottom. Because what we're going to do is once he's done, we're going to put a cap on that bottle and drop it into that water. Now, if you're liquid nitrogen, that water is way above your boiling point, and it will turn into a gas and build up a tremendous pressure, and it will explode inside that bucket. The problem is, we don't know how long it takes. It might take 30 seconds, it might take a minute, it might take 2. So, now's the time to get on your phone and text your parents goodbye. Okay, now he's got the lid on, he's going to drop it in there, and we're all going to back up. Now, we don't know, so back up a little bit. We don't know how long this is going to take, but the liquid nitrogen now is boiling inside that 2-liter bottle and becoming a gas and building up the pressure inside that bottle. There we go. I warned you. Here's what's left of the 2-liter bottle. Don't do this at home. Did we get you, Christine? All right. Oh, look, we even broke the bucket. We have another one over here. That's okay. We'll go fill that one up. It sprung a leak. Thank you. We're going to reload and do one more show.